very versatile tool.
I just said a 6.7 mil.
Visual is
Oh, brother.
extremely confusing.
I don't want to play this. I don't want to play this game anymore.
Stynex tosses out these projectiles.
This game is ass.
And if you would look at the wiki, you would see that even on there, these projectiles are considered a part of a functioning mechanic on the power. But I'm not convinced these projectiles do anything. So here's an experiment. I got one enemy here, and we're gonna toss out Thero Strike. First, aiming one of the projectiles at him, and then aiming into the floor to make said projectiles whiff. Because if you didn't know, these are aimable. So here's a bash where I aim one of them at the target. Alright, seems fine. But now, here I am at the same distance, 9 meters away, looking into the floor. I still hit him. And also, if you are distanced correctly, you can clearly see that these projectiles can and will just phase through enemies. Hell, when you're in range, you can activate Thero Strike while aiming in such a way that the enemy would be in between the gaps of the projectiles, and they'll still get
Tension!
I concluded that Thero Strike doesn't shoot projectiles at all. It is a simple cone scan in front of him with a visual effect giving the illusion he's tossing out some kind of bullet. But he isn't. And I mean, if you still don't believe me, how about the fact that Stynex can hit enemies behind him with this power?
You can't even use it properly because you never watched me,
but
so
its
fuck
origin
you.
point is misplaced behind him instead of at his center. I'm not sure if that's a bug or not, but it's pretty funny. This is admittedly a very confusing effect, and I don't blame anyone for thinking
this
that
kind
you
of
actually
ignorance
have hit enemies with these projectiles. But just rest assured, you don't have to. The power is
this kind of ignorance hasn't been seen in quite some time. This can only be the work of black people.
Besides that weirdness, though, it does what it says.
Silly black people.
Like his one,
they know they can't swim.
A very good power. So yeah, much like his one, there's not much baggage to shift through. Next up is Rally Points.
Honestly, sometimes I think maybe Thanos and Zamasu were right. You know what I mean?
Rally Points is a self buff that
some jiggers just gotta go.
Strike is extremely versatile.
And you're one of them.
First, it increases his aggro generation, meaning enemies are more likely to target him. Second, he and his allies gain energy regeneration.
You'll love this. You love the fucking bunch of time in one area for no reason.
Buff grant both them and Stynex himself shields, including overshields. And this buff lasts a
feel the power of my concentrated death.
At base. This
allows me to concentrate death in one area.
And I will not be taking any
brother, get off of me.
1984. So I couldn't be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure this power grants the most powerful energy regeneration buff, period. There's certainly others, like Brendel's Feast buff, but I mean, just look at this.
He admits it.
Remember how I said that Stynex has the ability to just spam his powers? This is the reason why. I also got curious and wanted to see just how strong the aggro generation on Rally Point was. So I went out to go test. Aggro in Warframe works on a priority system. So things like defense targets usually have a higher aggro priority than that of players, and thus enemies are more likely to be drawn to and attack it. But certain things do have higher aggro priority than even a defense node does. Both Loki's Decoy and Saren's Molt
I can't deal with
classic
this anymore.
examples of this. But for something like Rally Points, I was expecting it to put Stynex's aggro generation somewhere above normal player aggro, but still below defense target aggro. Because I mean, it's not a dedicated decoy power. Its main draw is the energy regeneration and shield buff. So I figured D wouldn't give it decoy levels of aggro.
Oh sure, I sure hope you do.
Shut your bitch ass up.
So check this out. Everyone is hard focused on the defense objective like you would expect. These guys would only attack me if I got too close under normal circumstances. But the moment I flip Rally Point on and make myself visible to their sight lines, they no longer care about the defense target. That is pretty damn funny. This means that Rally Point gives Stynex an aggro
we're only 20
on
off.
a similar level to that of Decoy-esque powers. If Rally is on and during deal with an enemy, as long as they're not straight up against a defense target, they won't try to shoot it. I wasn't expecting that result, and honestly, I think that it is hilarious that Stynex simply existing can be considered CC. So with that revelation under our belt, yeah, Rally Point is extremely good for what it offers. It helps that the duration is so fucking long too.
Psst. Man, I need to download the export Windows already.
Do you like bleed procs? Oh, you do?
like I'm playing like fucking con. And Jesus.
Oh yeah, well you're just a filthy black.
So final stand. This puts Dynex into a locked state in which he throws countless javelins at wherever you aim. Each javelin has an explosive range of 6 meters, and each javelin has a 100% chance of proccing a bleed. And if the last clip didn't make it obvious enough, you can throw a lot of javelins. And in case you were curious, the way the game handles adding additional javelins to the ability is by lengthening the animation. So the more duration you have, the longer you can stay.
I almost sent one of them to
Not that it matters that much, because with how much energy you can regenerate, you just fucking recast it anyways. The final stand can cover a lot of space. And it shreds just about anything it comes into contact with.
I'm getting tired.
Armor. But
get some new material.
Once again, there really isn't that many hidden intricacies.
That's almost as annoying as. It's almost as annoying as the original. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my god.
I don't know. It felt weird not having more to talk about, so instead, I'll leave you with some personal opinions on how to build him. So my stat priority is as follows: strength, duration, range, and finally, efficiency. And here's why. Strength and duration I always considered equal priority at first, but now I think strength is slightly more important than the latter. Just because it affects more of his kit. Strength is needed to reach 100% strip on Theros. It determines the base damage of Final Stand, and thus the potency of the slash procs. And, most importantly, it dictates how much energy regeneration you get from rally points, as well as how many shields you get per kill whilst rally point is up. Duration, on the other hand, whilst you should absolutely not skip out on it, only really matters for its duration. Rally point already has a 30-second base duration, 2 is an instance power, and as one vortex lasts such a small amount of time that duration doesn't really benefit it that much. So while some people might prefer a little bit more duration over strength, I personally would prefer to be able to spam 4 more than to have each individual 4 last slightly longer. As for range, it's not terribly important. Mainly it's useful on Theros Strike, but other than that, you can do without. Though I wouldn't recommend going into negatives here. Try to stay at 100% or maybe a bit higher if you can. Now, with efficiency, it is a completely different story. Honestly, I just go into negative efficiency because of how fucking well he handles his energy. Not only is half his kit cheap as hell to use, but Rally Point gives him some of the best energy management in the game. And better yet, the Final Stand isn't a channel power, so he regenerates energy in the middle of the animation. And trust me, if you invest in strength enough, you will not be needing efficiency. Double so if you run Arcane Energize, or hell, fuck it. Put Grindel's Feast over his 1 and stack energy buffs, because why the fuck not? And that's Dynex. For a milestone frame, he is one hell of a package. This is the kind of frame that you pick up when you don't want to think about their inner workings too much. You equip them, press buttons, and watch funny numbers do funny things. He's simple, effective, and a great callback to the ye olde days where we all thought Super Jump was a good idea for an ability. Though if I had to change something about him, please get rid of his hanging nipples, DE. God, I hate them.
I'm so mad for that. I know something arousing done.
Oh! I got hit by a straight energy blast of hell, bro. Fuck!
Why did he think he could catch me with that bull?
Hold on. Bankai! Getsuga! Tensho! Well, he stole my Getsuga Tensho from me, bro.
Under fact?
Getsuga! Tensho!
I was so fucking WB, so shit. I'm showing?
Yeah, he
Holy shit,
better be showing.
Dude, I just sold my whole I sold my whole stat with Pressa. So I'm gonna kill myself.
Kuro_Seki left.
let me go put the rest away if it's still even out there. I'll be right back.
Thank you for your time. These are all I have, I'm afraid. Of course. Goodbye. Thank you. Very kind. I find it helpful to have work to focus upon. Let us begin.
Just a fair word of warning before we start. I am going to try really hard to avoid talking about how I feel like this game has an addiction problem. Specifically in regards to it designing itself in such a way that demands any and all new frames be capable of obliterating a small continent by just straining a little bit on the toilet. Now, don't get me wrong, I like big damage. A lot. But I don't know, do you remember when we got frames who we considered good even if they couldn't nuke a tile? Trinity, Necros, Ivara, dare I say, Loki? I don't know, I guess it feels like that we've fallen into a sorta single playstyle singularity in recent times. And as if to reinforce that, here arrives Dagoth. A frame with a girl boner for marking enemies and spreading duplicated crit damage, just after we got a frame with a girl boner for marking enemies and spreading duplicated crit damage. But okay, I'll leave that discussion for a separate video. For now, we're gonna be looking at Dagoth in a vacuum from now on. So, any hole's a goal, right? Dagoth is a frame that confused me as I was learning to use her. I wasn't grasping what her power priority was meant to be, or how DE was intending for her to be used. So I went back and watched her reveal dev stream, and what I got was that her focus was primarily on applying and spreading marks which improve her damage output.
Tearing down their defenses, you're going to be spreading that curse, which is really important to the gameplay. And yeah, you're just going to be tearing through enemies with this cursed frame, really.
Which seems right, but there's a few decisions that left me scratching my head, which we'll get into in a bit. As always, starting with the passive, it is literally Arcane Energize, but for both energy and health, and also better. Picking up either orb type gives a 35% chance that the effectiveness of said orb will be increased by 300%. It has fantastic synergy with things like Energizing Grace, Amber Archon Shards, and best of all, it has no cooldown. This is the kind of passive that makes me wish we could change passives via Helminth for no particular reason or anything. And this is a good frame to have it on too, as Dagoth tends to cast her powers about as many times as I stay indoors in a year. God, I'm such a neat! Now, I'm actually going to stray away from the usual power discussion order of first, second, third, and then fourth, and instead, I'm going to cover her second power first, since her first, third, and fourth powers all have conditionals relating to it. Doom causes Dagoth to, presumably, screech out a space slur, causing all enemies within the radius to become marked with a special status effect, as indicated by the giant, not subtle at all, glowy sights above the target's head. The sights will hover over the target and observe a percentage of the damage that Dagoth deals to said target. After a few seconds, the scythe will fly into the target, dealing damage equal to whatever the scythe observed. And if the scythe happens to observe enough damage to where its activation would be lethal, the scythe skips the rest of the countdown and immediately flies into the target. If a target survives the scythe, another will spawn once they take another instance of damage. So, put simply, this power duplicates her deeps. The more power strength you have, the more damage that the scythe can observe per hit. And thus, the easier it is to reach the death threshold and send them off to attack. Though it takes a hell of a lot of power strength to reach 100% duplication. Like, goddamn, what the fuck? However, the biggest advantage that Doom has, I feel, is that the scythes deal damage that ignore your target's armor. So, Doom is the pillar of her kit, with one power being able to spread it, and two others getting conditional buffs if Doom is on an enemy that it hits. So it's pretty evident that if your screen doesn't look like this, you're either doing something very wrong or something very right. However, I feel like I need to air some grievances with how this power functions. Warframe is a game in which you eventually get to the point where you become so powerful that you can accidentally insult a corpus and they'll fall over dead and immediately turn into ash. The point that I'm trying to make there is that most mobs die very easily, with a few exceptions like high-end steel circuit mobs and steel path heavy XMI. The issue is that these scythes often feel, I guess, redundant? Because in order to get them to attack their target as soon as possible, you have to do a certain amount of damage to them. But chances are, if you can make that threshold within the 3 or so seconds that each scythe lasts, the poor fucker is likely already going to be dead from your attack too. And this is only further exacerbated by our third power, which we'll get into in a bit. So in these cases, your scythes become about as useful as tits on a doorknob. I get that you can technically say that about all buffs, like, you know, my weaponry here can still one-tap this guy with or without a rhino buff or something, but at least with other buffs, you still see the impact through bigger number values. Here, if the target dies, the scythes just vanish and do nothing. So I guess my problem is more how the power feels in those scenarios. Now, that's not to say that they aren't useful. They can be very efficient against heavy units, since it's harder to one-tap those guys, and AoE weaponry on Dagoth in particular make the scythes much more useful against trash mobs, given that AoE blasts often have damage fall off. But for most other situations, often the scythes just don't get to do much. So, let me propose a fix. Originally, I wrote in the script that Doom targets should duplicate all damage that it takes to any other target with Doom as well, but then I realized that we'd just be making Colorvo 2, and me from the intro would be really pissed off. Not to mention, kind of busted? So instead, I feel like Doom should offer something besides damage just to make it more useful in more scenarios. Or at the very least, to improve the aesthetic feel of them, have scythes register their damage numbers even if they impact a corpse. I'd make more suggestions, but every time I have an original thought, I lose a wrinkle in my brain. So let's move on. Next, getting into our first power, weird scythes are another spinny blade AoE? I mean, I'm not complaining, I love orbitals. A short while after activation, weird scythes will fly out and seek nearby enemies, with a seemingly infinite amount of punch through, while also inflicting viral. And, if the target is doomed, causes that target to spread doom to enemies nearby, and resets the doom timer. Are you seeing the subtle power synergy at play here? Oh, and it also slows them, as a treat, you know. Weird scythes are essentially a more efficient spreader of Doom, to the point where you might as well always cast this power instead of Doom if your intent is to mark more enemies. Since it's cheaper, has more potential coverage, and the damage that weird scythes do is observed by the Doom scythes that the weird scythes spawn on hit. So you get an immediate jumpstart to building your way towards the Doom scythe damage threshold. Whilst it's not the fastest way to kill, a very convenient and easy power rotation is to Doom a group and then spam weird scythes. With high enough strength, your usual medium armored steel path mobs will fall relatively quickly, and you don't even have to engage more than 4 brain cells, since the weird scythes home in on mobs, and Doom scythes auto-magically deal the majority of the damage anyways. Again, not her most efficient damage dealing path, but it's very lazy, and I love laziness. Besides that though, there aren't many more intricacies to the power. I guess you can combine it with Aqua Blades and it looks pretty cool? Sure. Next is Grave Spirit, which probably earns the reward for most Warframe power of 2017. On cast, Dagoth gains a crit damage buff for all of her weapons. Said buff's potency is doubled if the enemy that she's attacking is doomed. The buff lasts for a total of infinite seconds and also grants her an extra life should she die while the buff is active. During this state, she gains temporary invincibility, and for every doom kill she gets, those enemies drop health orbs. It also results in a 25-second cooldown before she can activate the power again. I would describe this power as boring. And that's exactly what it is. Grave Spirit is the power I mentioned earlier that kind of exacerbates Doomsight's problem of not being able to work because you obliterate a mob in one hit. Being able to multiply your crit damage by whatever percentage your power strength is at is really funny and really strong. So if you weren't already one-tapping mobs, then chances are you are now. Unless you're using a status weapon with like a 5% crit chance, Lamau Stug Lamau. It's also such a simple power that I don't have much else to say about it. It's a permanent crit buff that you tap once per mission and then pretend that you don't have a third power slot. So, I guess moving on? And finally, Rakali's Cavalry. A power more confused about its own identity than I am about mine. It causes the god to send out a legion of hordes to roll over any mob in their way. Okay, I have to admit a personal failing here. I have rewritten my thoughts on this power like 3 times because I can't tell if I like the fucking thing or not. For example, on one hand, it's nice to have an armor strip on our kit, but on the other, it's 100 energy base and is pretty linear. It does a hilarious amount of base damage, but many times it's overkill on mobs that aren't heavies, and for those guys, I can usually just take out my rifle and turn their face into a captcha puzzle. So now I'm set here on attempt number 4 of expressing my thoughts on these little shits.
Wait,
and
is this
I
a bounty
arrived at the
for the
conclusion
60i?
that I don't know. See, I personally don't feel the need to use Cavalry. Like, not even on trash mobs, because Doom and Weird Sights alone, with a good weapon, are more than capable of taking out groups without the absurd energy cost that these big boys demand. But at the same time, I can't deny that Cavalry is pretty damn good. In fact, building a one-button wonder Dagoth who does nothing but launch murder horses at everyone is very viable. I don't know, I guess I just don't like how it feels, I guess?
Even though I'm sitting at a nice 130 efficiency, this bitch finds a way to drain all my energy.
Things like that. Plus, if I'm using Cavalry too much, then I'm not spreading Doom with Weird Sights, because Weird Sights can't spread Doom using corpses. It also doesn't help that this power's range is dictated by your power duration, a stat that is otherwise almost useless on Dagoth. Weird Sights don't use it. Doom has plenty of base duration that even with transient fortitude and fleeting expertise, it can still last around 10 seconds. Plus, it gets extended by Weird Sights, and Grave Spirit literally lasts forever. So even though this power does a shit pants amount of damage,
oh brother, you're a fucking coon.
I don't recommend using it all that much, especially when Grave Spirit is looking you dead in the eyes and is injecting every single crit weapon in your arsenal with space steroids. In a vacuum, this power is incredibly strong, but on Dagoth, kinda redundant. If you were itching for another mob-marking frame, then Dagoth is right up your alley. She has big damage, big spread, big crits, big horses. But for me personally, having sat through Kalervo's release, I was kinda ready for something else. Now, this isn't a slight to Dagoth, it's more that I feel like she should have been released later, given how similar of a role she fills to the frame that released just before her. She's very strong in her current state. Although I do think that the Doom Stats mechanic needs some tweaking to make it a little bit more impactful in certain scenarios, but besides that, she is damn solid.
Shut up, Coco.
And I'm done with the video.
Somebody get the door, bro. Somebody get the door. No. Nah, Crazy Dishwasher thought, Mr. Actual Editor. I don't know, bro. I should just say, nigga, that's on my creative team instead. Fucking Negro. Anyway, nigga, that's on my creative team. Because I'm gonna make Zorkax's High Priest a gay-ass fat. I'm like, for Zorkax to come back as a demon, he has to consume the soul of another sinner that went down to hell. So his high priest is gonna find himself in hell. And Zorkax happens to be in the air. He's like, my lord, I've been waiting for so long to see you again. Really? Yes, my lord. I tried to bring you back to life, but I failed. Oh, you failed? Yes, but I can make up for it. I swear. Please. I know exactly how you can make up for it. How?
No.
By becoming a part of me. Hmm? No, it was not gonna be porn. It was not gonna be gay porn. Yes, his high priest is gay, But I wasn't. No, that wasn't the setup, bro. That wasn't the setup. Get your mind off the gutters.
Hey, bro.
The Vitrium cannot see with those things around it. I mean, wouldn't have you?
Also, I'm low-key thinking about giving Noria Fierce Deity mask because, like, even though the mask is.
Dude, they didn't. You need to like run me. Pause. Every.
Pause.
thing that's
I guess that's fair.
like, repeat. And I got no clue what the old.
Oh, you don't need to worry about that. Anyway.
I don't want. Yes. I'm gonna like. Give
Well, that's too damn bad. You're going to be. So, yeah. Fucking knee guard. What happened to your damage, man? Where's it at?
Oh, I took off some damage. Oh no! Why I feel so slow? I forgot I took off my yellow shards. That's why I feel slow. Why am I stuck? Me? Dog, I might be.
Father Almighty.
That's a fucking.
We shall eat today. I was feeling a bit peckish. As you can see, I'm collecting myself some delicacy.
I freaking.
Oh, no shit, Sherlock.
Fucking salt and
No,
pepper.
no shit, Sherlock.
This nigga sound like an African lord talking about some fucking delicacy when it's salt and pepper.
I didn't even say something, Pepper. I just said, Father Almighty. We shall eat today. I was feeling a bit peckish. As you can see, I'm collecting myself some delicacy. Nigga sound like a goddamn Jamaican.
Yo,
Now you know how it feels. You know how it feels. You fucking bitch.
got me back. I fucking.
Now you know how it feels. Now you know how it feels. Talking about this nigga sound like.
I don't feel. No, we have
Talking about this. You sound like an African warlord.
Now you know how it feels, nigga.
Nigga sounds like a nigga that can handle some big bunda or whatever.
Glad you there.
No!
You risk discovering a purer, more virile foe.
Is he Creole?
No. I should. You know what? Based. But that doesn't mean I'm proud of you.
Creole is like. Nigga, I learned Creole to talk to a Creole bitch. What? I still need.
Oh, Father Almighty.
My stepmom.
Stepmom.
Yeah, you're.
Hmm?
You don't remember when I was in foster care?
No. Bro, I don't remember that far back, bro.
Nigga, let's do it.
Oh. You know what? That's it, nigga. Spit on your hand and stroke my cock at a medium pace.
Defy you, brother.
Nigga thinks he can cruise me of all niggas.
I can fuck out of it.
Nigga thinks he can cruise me.
Dude, I was showing you.
Nigga thinks he can cruise me. Does this nigga know who I am?
LeBron Crucifix Jackson.
No. You know what?
Imagine.
It's fucking unfortunate that they fucking Michael Jackson, bro.
What did they do? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
He died to overdose in the hospital he was in. MF Doom.
Oh. That's what he died to?
Yeah.
Damn. They said somebody killed him.
Yeah, the hospital he was in killed his ass. They overdosed him.
Oh, yeah. In my. Oh, that's crazy. The great one.
On Glorb. But it's never the Epstein Juniors that go out like that. Fucking hell, mate.
We should low-key unabolish slavery.
But who are we gonna enslave? Slavery has already been unabolished.
But like we should.
It's called working minimum wage.
Well,
It's called working minimum wage and yo, my nigga. What? That shit's already slavery enough as it is. I mean, they do, and that's a good. Is that a good thing? Yeah, that's it. Oh, hold on. Let me go get my Glock 19 and you know, shoot it in the air. Property value.
That weak ass Glock out, bruh. Get your ass.
All right, fine. I'll do the actual one.
Nigga, that's a li-
Bro, what are you talking about? That's my Glock
No
19.
wonder why you're African.
Actually, my fault. It's my Glock 9. It's my Glock 999. My
No
fault.
wonder why. Fucking nigger.
No wonder why you're fucking Jamaican,
What's your
bitch ass nigga.
fuck your mother?
Uh-uh.
Your mother.
Unlike you, I could get $200 by being a prince. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. Damn, I can't say fuck you in the. I can't say it with
Kuro_Seiki joined.
Fuck. I hate you, nigga.
Oh. Nigga, yo, I'm about to get mad. Yo, I'm about to get. Oh. Yo, I'm about to get. Yo, I'm about to. Hold on.
Father Almighty.
Why did you text me, bro? Is it here before you joined the call?
I did?
No, this bitch ass nigga, oh god.
That's a nigga?
What happened?
That's a nigga? Damn! Why did you do that? Nigga hit the... You ever try to deep fry a turkey? 3rd-degree burns over 9%. Ah!
Bro, hold on, I gotta drink that okay, I can't. I don't want to speak no.
Him who would threaten to rape me in 2 seconds.
Well, yeah, I threatened to rape both of you. Seconds.
But if I say the N-word...
What are you thinking?
If I say the N-word, I'm wrong, right? No, I'm not. I'm never wrong.
Of course, you're fucking black.
Exact. You see, you understand.
Yeah, okay. What happened? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hold on,
I
bruh.
know you're average. You're not that slow, bro. Get over it.
I was building my combo. Calm your tits.
I'm gonna build you.
You can't do that.
Yeah. Oh.
Here goes.
Time to make the donuts.
Time to make the donuts. Time to make the donuts.
So as
Corvex? Why are we throwing strays at Corvex? He's not even here. Ow.
but he's just so high.
Oh! Oh!
So,
Oh!
you two, didn't you?
Oh! Oh!
I gotta admit, when I think of a frame made by a possibly mad timeline-jumping scientist within his lab of super advanced technology and talking fish, I can't say that I pictured him creating a death golem
Here it
out of
comes.
concrete. Figured he'd use, like, steel or something? I don't know. And D, I gotta ask, why concrete? It seems like a weird substance to make a frame out of, and if we're going that route, can we maybe get one based off of ferrofluid? Because that would be cool. So this is Corvex. A man built like a brick shithouse who I can't help but see is wearing a crop top. And I gotta say, seeing his initial reveal on his dev stream nearly made me drown to death after I fell asleep
though.
and began drooling once I saw just how weak his kit looked. But then I recalled just how
you
many
just suck.
times over the years that D presented a frame that looked weak as hell, only for them to release and be more than viable. And also vice versa. So
You
I
need to
held
find
off on
sarcophagus.
judgment until I got my hands on him.
Hey, bro.
And then I got my hands on him and was about to deliver the verdict of a hot
We should put you in a
garbage.
sarcophagus.
But
Oh
as
my
I've played
god!
more, the strengths have become more apparent. The biggest gripe that I have about him right now
A box of
is
mixed
how
biscuits and a
he
biscuit
involving
mixer.
his
A box of mixed
just
biscuits and a
aren't
biscuit mixer. A box of
properly
mixed biscuits and a
explained to
biscuit
you, and
mixer.
trust me,
A box of mixed
I am
biscuits and
going to talk about him, assuming that D doesn't fix them
a box of
first.
mixed biscuits and
And
a
if you're
biscuit
hearing this,
mixer. A
then
box of mixed biscuits and a
I
biscuit
won.
mixer. A
And
box
if
of mixed
not,
biscuits and a
then
biscuit
I
mixer. A
lost.
box of mixed biscuits and a biscuit mixer. A box of mixed biscuits and a biscuit mixer. A
And
box.
one of these things that
Box of mixed biscuits and a biscuit
play a
mixer.
key role
A
in
box of mixed
flipping
biscuits and a
my
biscuit
opinion on
mixer.
him, which I'll
Box of
get
mixed
into later.
biscuits.
Passive time.
A box of
Keeping
mixed
in
biscuits
line
and
with D's
a
tradition of making passives
box of mixed
boring
biscuits and a
as
biscuit
hell,
mixer.
We have this. Weapons wielded by Corvex have an additional +3 punch through. So interesting tidbit
Where
about
is
this.
it?
Corvex passive used to be different before release. It used to be that all of his weapons would grant radiation damage, which I feel
Oh, I don't
was
have any
more
energy for
fitting
that.
for him. The only explanation I could see behind them changing it is that they released a bunch of mods that add radiation.
I didn't
on
even
weapons
allow
within
it to
the same
spawn,
update.
so,
But like that wouldn't
tough titties.
nullify their uses. It would just increase the amount of radiation damage that the weapons did. And even if they did, this is
And the way her
one
titties be
frame.
bouncing,
So
low-key
who
genuinely be
cares
tough.
if their passive nullifies a mod or two? It's not like we
What the
haven't done this
fuck?
in the past.
Why
So
did I separate
really don't
Loker
like
with
this passive,
Lee?
because Corvex isn't much of a weapon slinging frame. He just
I'm
doesn't
so
have
fried, I
anything that
unfried
encourages him
myself.
to focus on his arsenal.
That was
like,
supposed to
say,
be low
Mirage or
third.
Chroma.
What is that? I
He's
said
more
low-key
focused on his
genuinely.
abilities. So giving him this passive just makes no sense. But yeah, not really impressed with this. It doesn't fit his playstyle. It just feels like they tried to solve a
I'm gonna
problem
put you in
that
a
didn't
sarcophagus.
exist. So for first impressions, it looks
Sarcophagus.
like this foundation
Sar-
isn't
oh.
as concrete as we
Speak
were
of the devil, he
hoping
shall
for.
appear.
Thank God.
Shurinka Pillar? I no longer care. Sharingan Pillar is our first power. On cast, Corvex tosses out one of those thumpers from Half-Life 2 that sends out pulses periodically,
What the-
causing guaranteed radiation
What the-
procs. He can have a
Why?
maximum of 2 pillars out at once, not affected by mods, and ticks slow enemies by 35%.
Wait,
also
one
not
second,
affected
though.
by mods. Sharinka Pillar is one of those powers whose usefulness is almost entirely reliant on other powers. The pillars can be overcharged by hitting them with either his second or fourth power, but I'll get into those effects later on. If there's one
I'm
gripe
sorry.
I have, it'd probably be that its base range is pretty damn pathetic for what it is. Not
Oh
only does it
my-
have a line of
oh,
sight
I'm
check,
so
but its
ass.
base range is only 8
What is that
meters,
negative
meaning
ass
you need
damage?
a hell of a lot of range just to
no,
get
I
it to
even
cover
mean
even
it
an
like-
acceptable amount
is
of the tile that
that
you're on.
shitty?
Even Zaku's armor strip auras have higher base range, and those are far more powerful than these things. So I feel like a bump of range up from 8 meters to 12 would be more than fair for that
Why?
reason. But yeah, on their own, the pillars don't do very much. So this is some prime augment opportunities for improvements here.
I needed
you know,
500.
just a little something to think about. Let me sit on them and spin.
Crush clock with rock.
Containment wall is our second power. On
Okay.
cast, Korvax summons 2 walls of concrete before slamming them into one another. The walls deal constant radiation ticks to enemies
Boy,
that are
fuck you.
touching them, and as they collide, it drags enemies towards the
No.
center. Or at least it tries, because